Hari Om. Starting with invocation, let us chant from verses 56 to 60 of Atma Bodha. Pratah smarami hridi samspuradatma tattvam Satche sukham paramaham sagatim turiyam Yasvapna jagara sushuptamaveti nityam Tad brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sangaha Tirya gurdhamadha Purnam Satchidanandamadvayam Anantam Nityamekam Yat Tad Brahmetyavadharayet Athadya Vritti Rupena Vedantair lakshyate dvayam Akhandanandamekam yat Tad brahmetyavadharayet Akhandanandarupasya Tasyanandalavashritaha Brahmadhyastahratam yena Bhavantyanandino khilaha Tadhyuktamakilam vastu Vyavaharastadanditaha Tasma sarvagatam brahma Kshire sarpirivakhile Anandvastulamahrisvam Adirghamajamau vyayam Arupa gunavarnakyam Tad brahmetyavadharayet
Pratah smarami hridi samspuradatmatattvam Satchit sukham paramaham sagatim turiyam Yat swapna jagara sushuptamaveti nityam Tad brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sangaha. We continue with verse number 56 onwards. 56 paringa.
Yes. Tirya gurdhamadha purnam Satchidanandamadvayam Anantam nityamekam yat Tad brahmetyavadharayet Tirya gurdhamadha purnam Satchidanandamadvayam Anantam nityamekam yat Tad brahmetyavadharayet.
Realize Brahman to be that which is across, above, below, all-pervading, existence, knowledge, bliss, non-dual, infinite, eternal, one. Realize Brahman to be that which is across, above, below, all-pervading, existence, knowledge, bliss, non-dual, infinite, eternal, one. continuing with the description of Brahman. As I said, Tad Brahmet iti avadharayet. Know, realize that to be Brahman. Know that to be Brahman. Realize that to be Brahman. We'll be seeing, as I said, we'll be seeing this for the next few more verses too. Realize that to be Brahman. How to get a human being, how to make a human being understand the glory of the infinite nature. How to make a human being stop chasing the limited and direct him to the higher. This is the challenge of the Shastras. The challenge of the Shastra, the challenge that these scriptures have, the great masters, is the mind is attracted to the world. The mind is chasing the world. How to redirect it? How to tell the mind, this is not what you should be doing. How to inspire the mind. The glories of the infinite is spoken in very many words. When the glories of the infinite is spoken in very many words, the mind gets attracted to it. The mind develops a value for it. The mind gets attracted to it. The intellect also understands the importance of it, and then the personality is pursuing that. Realize that to be Brahman. So some glories of Brahman is indicated here. The glory here is it pervades the microcosm and the macrocosm. The Brahman is that which pervades the microcosm and the macrocosm. The few qualities that is discussed here. Tiryak urdhvam adaha. Directions. Tiryak means across, urdhvam above, adaha below. It is across all directions, that which is across, above, below, and Purnam, whole. It pervades everything with Purnatvam. It is everywhere with Purnatvam. When you accept, when you understand that it is the across, above, below, the one, what is it that happens even if you understand it now? If you understand that it is Purnatvam, first thing that happens is the world would be accepted as it is. Itself is a very great growth. The world will be accepted as they are. Neither will you be dependent on it. So two things happen. See, all these indicative definitions, it's not only the glories of Brahman, we can interpret it and see how it can help us where we are now. Now I am interpreting it in both ways. One is what is Brahman. Another is how we can make use of it in our sadhana. How we can make use of it for our spiritual progress. So I keep alternating between the two. When you understand that it is Purnam, what happens? Recognition of Purnatvam is the ability to accept as they are. what is ability to accept as they are means? You understand very clearly that in what is accepting as they are? In body, mind and intellect, apurnatvam will be there. Purnatvam belongs to Brahman. Body, mind, intellect will be. So Purnatvam is of Brahman. Apurnatvam is of body, mind and intellect. Now you have two things. If you want Purnatvam, you have to become Brahman. If you are chasing body, mind, intellect, at least you should be contented with, at least you should be at peace with the Apurnatvam of the world, the body, mind, and intellect. You cannot chase the world, the body, mind, and intellect and try to make them Purnam, complete. That is not possible. The human effort is such that they will chase the world, they will chase the body, mind, and intellect, but they would want to convert, the Apurnatvam nature of body, mind, intellect, the world, to somehow make it a Purnam. If something has to be Purnam, it has to be all-pervading. If something has to be Purnatvam, it has to be all-pervading. Body, mind, intellect is not all-pervading. Yeah. The body is not even room-pervading. Yeah, it is confined to this 5.5 feet frame. The body is confined to this 5.5 feet frame. Mind is confined to its own attachments. Mind doesn't know anything. Mind doesn't know anything outside of its attachments. Intellect, so concerned about what it knows, and how to make everybody agree with what I know. Avladha intellect. What is intellect? Body, Apurna, it is limited to this 5.5 feet frame. Mind is limited. What is the limitation of the mind? The limitation of the mind is its own attachments. That's all. It can't go anywhere beyond that. Now, what is the limitation of the intellect? Somehow convince everybody that I have taken up to Vedanta, I am following Vedanta, and somehow convert the whole world into Ellarum white kurta mala put. Everybody on this planet must wear the kurta and the mala and walk around. Apurnatvam is the nature of body, mind, intellect. Purnatvam is the nature of Brahman. Now you ask yourself, what do you want? Do you want Purnatvam or do you want Apurnatvam? Ask what you want. Ask yourself what you want. If you say, I want Purnatvam, forget body, mind, intellect. If you say, I want body, mind, intellect, be contented with the limitations of the body, mind. Okay. But don't make this mistake of the limited body, mind, intellect as infinite. Human beings' potential is unlimited, no sir. Human beings' potential is limited only. Human being doesn't have infinite potential. No. Human being is a limited potential only. The Brahman has that infinite potential because Brahman is infinite, and human being attaining the stature of Brahman can say infinite potential. Are you able to follow? In the name of motivation, in the name of thinking, you don't think that you are a super. There is no super person. Human being and all doesn't have infinite potential. Human being has limited, finite potential. Full stop. And you need not feel inferior about it. You need not develop an inferiority complex about it. Why? Because it is the nature. It is the nature. So you ask yourself, what are you contented, peaceful with Apurnatvam? Then the next question, can you be contented with Apurnatvam? No, you cannot be contented with Apurnatvam. You can never be peaceful with limitations. Limitations will suffocate you. You cannot be satisfied with limitations. You cannot be at peace with limitations. Why? Limitations is not your original nature, and as long as you are not in your original nature, you will be frustrated, suffocated. Any object or being in its original nature is peaceful. Correct? A peaceful monkey. What is the peaceful monkey? I've given this example before. A peaceful monkey. Meditative monkey is a depressed monkey. Peaceful monkey. What is the peaceful monkey? Happy, peaceful monkey is one which is jumping from branch to branch, tree to tree. Why? Because Astira and Chanchala is the natural state of the monkey. Similarly, what is the natural state of a human being? Until you get to that state, you will remain discontented, frustrated. So Vedanta says your discontentment or frustration is not because of the world. Your discontentment or frustration is not because of what is happening around you. Your discontentment or frustration is not because of the limitations. Your discontentment or frustration or unhappiness is because you are trying to get to your original natural state and you have not yet gotten to that natural state. Once you get to that natural state, the discontentment, the peace, the worry, the anxiety, all ceases. How? Any object in its natural state, any being in its natural state remains peaceful. Are you able to follow? Okay, sir, body, mind, intellect is limited, Apurnatvam, and I'll be contented with Apurnatvam. You cannot say that. You cannot do that. You cannot be contented with, you cannot be peaceful, you cannot be contented, you cannot be happy with limitations. Why? Object only when when it reaches its natural state, it can remain peaceful. Now the question, what is the natural state of a human being? What is the natural state of existence? Purnatvam. Till you recognize that, irrespective of what is happening in the external world, you will still remain Apurnam only. Therefore, the body, mind, and intellect is limited. But that limitation suffocates you. But that limitation agitates you. But that limitation frustrates you. Why? Because the inherent nature of body, mind, and intellect is to be limited, but you are not limited. But I am the body, mind, intellect. No, sir. Who are you? Theoretically say, it's not that when you say you are going to become Brahman. Who are you? I am Brahman. When you say I am Brahman, when you say I am the reality, don't say what you are not. Say what you are. If I ask, who are you? I'm not a dog. I'm not a monkey. I'm not a mosquito. I'm not the. Who are you? Say who you are. Don't say what? What you are not. Say, this is called assertion. This is what Atmabodha is supposed to have given this conviction. So Upanishad says, do it. Atmabodha gives logic and reason so that you will be able to. So, whenever the question is asked, who are you? Don't say what you are not. Say what? Say what you are. What you are. Tiryaku, Urdhvam, Adaha, Urnam, Sachidanandam, Advayam, Anantam, Nityam, Ekam. Tat Brahmediti Avadaraye. Know this to be Brahman. How many ever times you read all this, you would want to read it again and again and again. Why? Because it's so inspiring to say who you are. When the question is asked, who are you? In Atma Shatakam, when the Guru asked Shankaracharya, who are you? Shankaracharya said, I know what I am not, but I don't know who I am. What I am not, I will tell you. But what I am, I don't know, he said. That's what eight shlokas of Atma Shatakam. Venkat, somebody from our class sent a message. Sir, Atma Shatakam Pati, you are doing so much. After you finish Atma Bodha, can we start? Can we do Atma Shatakam for a few classes? I said, after Atma Bodha is finished, we are starting again Atma Bodha only, I said. After Atma Bodha is finished, no, sir, just now we finished. No, it's okay, no problem. Saturday morning, you will also take a break. Saturday morning, I will also take a break. Yeah. But videos are there, no, sir, delete all the videos. Videos, what is the prayojana? No use. I know what I am not, but what I am, I am relying on the Shastra. My own conviction has told me what I am not. My own conviction, my own understanding, my own logic and reason has taught me what I am not. Are you able to follow? To say the world is temporary, you just have to keep your eyes and ears open. That's all. If your eyes and ears are open, you will understand world is temporary. You don't need the Shastra to come and say world is temporary. You need the Shastra to come and say beyond this temporary lies the permanent. If you have your eyes and ears open, you can easily say what you are not. But what you are, the enlightened master, Vedanta Shastra alone can teach you what you are. What is it that you are? Tiryaku urdhvam adaha. Purnam, all pervading, are all very similar. Because anything that is all pervading has to be Purnatvam, or something that is Purnatvam will become all pervading. Limitless. Purnatvam means what? Purnatvam means limitless, boundaryless. Body, mind, intellect has a boundary. Body, mind, intellect has a boundary. That which is there doesn't have, that which the reality has no boundary. Then the next one. Satchitanandam. Sat, Chit, Anandam, Advayam. Sat means the easiness in everything. That is Sat. The easiness. They say, no? This is technical. Sat means the easiness in everything is Sat. The tree is, the wood is, the table is, the ashes is. There is the easiness in everything. That that easiness in that easiness in everything is called Sat. And that easiness is pervading in that which is common to all beings, all objects is easiness. That which is not common is Nama Rupa. The easiness is common to everything. The Nama Rupa differs from object to object. So Sat is what? Not the Nama Rupa part, the easiness part. Easiness na within quotes potukonga. ISNESS. When you look at the tree, you say the tree is. When you cut the tree, you will say the wood is. And when the wood is made into a table, you say the table is. And when the table is burnt, you say the ashes is. Right through what is common, the Nama Rupa differs. What is the Nama Rupa differs? The tree, the wood, the table, the ash, Nama Rupa differs. In and through this differing Nama Rupa, something is common in them. What is it? That's called easiness. In Sanskrit, it's called Sat. Second thing is Chit. Chit is the consciousness in everything. The consciousness in everything. So, there is the easiness in everything. There is the consciousness in everything. There is the Ananda in everything. And the definition, not the, I'm using the word definition in a very loose sense. Brahman is always said as Satchit Ananda. Brahman is always said Satchit Ananda. And what is Satchit Ananda means? Existence, awareness, bliss. Existence, consciousness, bliss. Bliss in the sense, nowadays they don't use the word bliss. The modern day they use the word harmony. It's harmony. There is a harmonious existence. It's not agitated, frustrated awareness. It is a harmonious existence. The Sanskrit word, the classic Vedantic word for harmony is Ananda, bliss. It's not a neutral state. It's not a negative state. Ananda is a positive, blissful existence. So, Satchitananda. Advayam. All this we have seen already in detail. I'm just refreshing the memory. And don't worry, another few verses we are going to see the same thing. Again and again we'll feel like saying, enough sir, we have understood, let's finish Atma Bodha. Advayam. Dvi means two. Advayam is non-two. But sir, what about the plurality? Non-two, it is infinite, no? It is if you see the totality, the plurality, how do you say it is Advayam? The one that enlivens the infinite, the one that has taken the form of the infinite. What is that one? Example, the one mind that has taken the infinite forms in the dream. Advayam. Mind is Advayam because there are no two things in the dream. There is no plurality in the dream. What is the whole dream? The entire dream phenomena, the infinite things in the dream phenomena is all Advayam. Yes, obviously the dreamer cannot understand. Obviously the dreamer would not be able to understand. Yes, similarly, in relation how the Brahman has become this, we will not be able to understand. But because of the dream experience that we have had, we can conceive of this. What is Advayam? Advayam means non-two. The duality, the plurality does not exist. That's what it means. Advayam means the duality doesn't exist, the plurality doesn't exist. When they say that doesn't exist, the duality, the plurality that you see, all this is Brahman only. Just as every facet of the dream that you see as the waker, what would you see? Every facet of the dream, all that is happening in the dream, all that is part and parcel of the dream. If you walk into the dream with the waker's understanding, what would you see? That one thing you will see. What is that one thing? Mind. I experienced Brahman in the dream. What would you say? What would you say? Mind. Enemy chasing me in the dream. What would you say? Mind. Profit. What will you say? Mind. Loss. What will you say? Mind. The sewage. What will you say? The mind. The holy Ganges river. What will you say? The dreamer will say, the dreamer will look at you and say, you have gone mad. That's why you are blabbering like this. Why? Because all of them are distinct and different. Don't you see these differences? Can't you see the distinction very clearly? Is not the distinction so clearly established? Correct. The distinctions are so clearly established because of the Nama Rupa, the Guna, Nama Rupa Guna Karma. When you see it from the Nama Rupa Guna Karma, they are all distinct and different. In reality, they are all the one. In the dream phenomena, there is no two. Similarly, in the entire totality, there is no two. There is only one. What is that one? Brahman. Intellect comes into play with the second. The human intellect comes into play. The human being comes into existence only with the second. That's why intellect always needs the two. Advayam means beyond intellect. For intellect to come into play, you need minimum you need is two. Intellect comes into play at the second. Two is required. That's why intellect, the discriminating faculty between the two. If there is only one, intellect will go out of existence because there is no two to discriminate. For intellect comes in only when there is Advayam, non-two. And then what is he saying? Anantam, infinite. Infinite is a satisfaction. What is the infinite? The world and the worldly enjoyments are also inclusive of Brahman. It's also inclusive of Brahman. It's not away. Infinite means everything in it. Everything in it means the world and the enjoyments, all that is also part and parcel. But only thing is, what makes the difference is the qualitative difference. Anantam, infinite. Then comes Ek, Nityam. Nityam is that which is permanent is Nityam. Nityam means eternal. Eternal means that which is not bound by time. That which is not bound by time means that which doesn't go through any change. It's all interconnected. And it doesn't go through any change. Nityam. And then Ekam. All along we have been so eloquently saying Advayam, Advayam, Advayam. And then he's saying Ekam, one. You can call it Advayam, you can call it Ekam. All realize all this to be Brahman. Realize all this to be Brahman. Verse number 57. Verse number 57 padi.
Athadvyavrittirupena Vedantairlakshate dvayam Akhandanandamekam yat Tad brahmetyavadharayet Athadvyavrittirupena Vedantairlakshate dvayam Akhandanandamekam yat Tad brahmetyavadharayet.
Realize Brahman to be that which is indicated in Vedanta by the process of negation as non-dual, one, unbroken bliss. Realize Brahman to be that which is indicated in Vedanta by the process of negation as non-dual, one, unbroken bliss. Now what is he saying? He is continuing with the same idea of the previous verse. Repetition is a reinforcement. When Shastra repeats, repetition is always for reinforcement. Also, we have seen it. Truth is that which can be repeated again and again and again. That which is repeated again and again and again is the truth. You cannot speak about the truth in 1 million ways. Lies can be spoken of in 1 million ways. Truth is always, there is only one way to speak the truth. What is the way? Repetition, reiteration. Are you following? You can imagine in 1,000 million ways. Truth can be repeated only. There is only one way to convey the truth, and that way to convey the truth is repetition, reinforcement. One. Second is Vedanta Lakshya. I'll come to that. The second is repetition is not because of they don't have anything else to say. It's not that if they don't have anything else to say, you can stay quiet. No, sir, why repeat the same thing again and again and again? It can be told simply, but receptivity is so poor that it has to be repeated again and again and again. You can say Tattvamasi and close. That's all. There's no need to say any of these things. All that can be told is told already in the most simplest form. What is it? Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. That's all. You don't need to say anything more than that. But it doesn't help us in any way. Therefore, it has to be elaborated, and when it is elaborated, the same thing would be repeated. The same thing would be repeated again and again. The third is when they are saying this, they have to use some words. How do you repeat? How do you reiterate? Through some words. And how much ever words you use, how much ever creative you are in discovering new words, what you want to communicate cannot be communicated. What you want to teach cannot be taught. And Vedanta has taken up that impossible task. And it is doing it so successfully, so beautifully. What is it that is impossible? To convey that which cannot be conveyed. To explain that which cannot be explained. How to do that? Vedanta Lakshyate. This word Vedanta itself is so beautiful. Dvayam Akanda Anandam ellam beautiful na. Much more beautiful is the word Vedanta. By using this word Vedanta, Shankaracharya has connected the entire teachings to the Upanishads. Using the word Vedanta, he has connected the whole thing to the Upanishad, saying all that is being taught is that only. Anything that is conveyed through words has limitations. Anything that is conveyed through words has limitations. Second, the same word has different meanings too. The same word has different meanings to different people. Word is the same. Meanings differ. Yeah. If you have a group discussion, you will understand how one word can mean. How one word can mean many to many. There's a dictionary meaning. And then there are meanings that everybody. Words and what they reveal. Words reveal, and anything that is revealed by the word is limited. For that which is created cannot reveal that which is created, that which is made cannot reveal the infinite. So what else can they do? They go on repeating the same thing again and again and again. But you can be creative and say something different. No, there is no creativity in truth. You can be very creative in falsities. You can be very creative in lying. Yeah. So when you see the talented liar, you say, "Appa, எப்படிப்பா புதுசா you are coming up with excuses." Every day the fellow will come up with one new excuse, no? Bandwidth is not correct. Yeah. Grandmother died, toothache, grandfather died, uncle died, aunt died. Every day the fellow will come up with new excuses. You can be very creative in falsities. Reality is reiterated. And what is the method of Vedanta? The method of Vedanta is negation, neti. Realize Brahman to be that which is indicated in Vedanta by the process of negation as non-dual. To reveal something, anything that word conveys, anything that intellect understands, it has a few. Guna, Kriya, Jati, Sambandha. Again I repeat. Words, intellect can conceive, can talk about that which is of the few. What are the few? It has to have some gunas, properties. Second, it has to have a kriya, a function. Number 3, it has to be belonging to a group, jati. The fourth is it has a relationship with the other. Words can reveal that which has all these. It's called guna, kriya, jati, sambandha. Vedanta negates the gunas, negates the kriyas, negates the jati, negates the sambandha, and then by this process of negation, what is negated? All that is known, all that is conceived of is negated. So when you are negating, what are you negating? The guna, the kriya, the jati, the sambandha. Why? Because only when all these get together, the words can reveal a thing. I'm explaining negation. How does negation happens? So when you are negating, what is it that you are negating? Words reveal a thing. And what is the thing made up of? Guna, kriya, jati, sambandha. Are you able to follow? The 4. And these 4, what it does? Brahman doesn't have any guna. Brahman doesn't have any of these. Therefore, words cannot reveal Brahman. And Vedanta uses the technique of negation. Negate all that which is experienced, you negate. When all that which is experienced is negated, what will be left behind? If you go through logically, you will say zero, shunyam. But then that is the human's limitations of logic. When you negate all that which is experienced, you will not be left with shunyam, emptiness. What will be left behind? Brahman. Brahman will be left behind. And this Brahman is what? Kathopanishad. And what is this Brahman? Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidenam Kathopanishad. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidenam Ascharyavat vadati tataiva chanyaha. Ascharyavat chainam anya shrunoti Shrutva pyenam vedana chaiva kaschit. But Naga Kathopanishad Padchite, sir, we know this verse. Ascharya, Ascharya, Ascharya. We have not studied Kathopanishad, but we know this verse. Where does it come? Verse number 69. Chapter 2. Ascharya, Ascharya, Ascharya. Wonderment, wonderment. What is the wonderment? Every time you negate, you don't hit to shunya, you get into that wonderment state. What is that wonderment? When the meaning of the word, when you are using the word you, and when you are using the word that, these are all the classic Vedantic methods of negation and negation. When you are using the word that, and when you are using the word thou, the meaning of thou is connected to the meaning of that. Yeah. You, that. What is Vedanta? This you and that is the same. That the what? Ascharya it is. Ascharya. You, India. You is here. That is elsewhere. You has a different meaning. That has a different meaning. But then you inquire rightly that you and that becomes one. Same. You are that thou art. That's why he says Vedanta Lakshyate, indicated by Vedanta, by the process of negation. Realize Brahman to be that. Rest of the thing we have already studied. Non-dual, one, unbroken bliss. Just now we covered. That's why I'm not discussing that part of the verse. I'm discussing only Vedanta Lakshyate Dvayam. Indirectly revealed, because Brahman is not available for direct revelation. For something to be revealed directly, you need a word, and word cannot reveal Brahman. That's why indirectly revealed. Are you okay till now? Vedanta Lakshyate. It is Anandam. World is a source. World is not a source of Ananda. World is a source of fake Ananda. World is that which gives ananda now and pain later, dukkham. Again, I repeat. The another negation. Again, I repeat. First, its world is not a source of ananda, bliss, happiness. Number two, world is a source of pseudo happiness, fake happiness. Three, world appears to give happiness but ends up giving more pain. Four, dukkham, straight away it gives dukkha sometimes. Straight away it gives dukkha. Sometimes it cheats you into making you believe that it is going to give you sukham, but you will end up experiencing misery. This is negation. But sir, why are you so pessimistic like this? Why is Vedanta so pessimistic like this? Vedanta says, Abdina, you didn't hear it properly, Atma Bodha. If you believe that it is very pessimistic, you didn't hear it properly from the beginning. Why? Because it is reflected happiness. Reflected, original happiness, reflected happiness. Original light and reflected light. Where is it pessimistic? Are you able to see the difference? When they say it is not a source of pain, dukkha and all that you say, but sir, you should see the positive aspects of world also, no? Why is Vedanta so pessimistic? Even before explaining this, Vedanta has already said in the beginning that it is reflected. Don't misunderstand the reflected light as original light. Correct? Don't misunderstand the moonlight as moonlight. Moon has no light. Why are you so pessimistic now? What to do? Why are you so pessimistic now? What to do? You have to say, go back. That's all. Huh? It's not world is the, it is not, it is the reflected happiness. Reflected happiness. Just as reflected light. Pure happiness versus reflected happiness. What is the difference? Reflected happiness, pure happiness is not a part, is not a product, is not a property of any sense object. Mind. Again, I repeat, pure happiness means it's not a part, a product, or property of any sense object or mind. All worldly happiness is a part, a product, a property of some sense object, mind. Pure happiness is that which is independent of all this. Just as the moon is dependent on the sun for its light, the sun doesn't need the moon. That is original. The sunlight doesn't need the moon, but the moon is a reflection of sunlight. That is the difference between original and reflected. Vedanta Lakshyate. Vedanta Lakshyate. I'm just trying to recollect. Just trying to make sure that all that we have discussed till now, we are able to recollect. You cannot experience the infinite. You cannot become the infinite through the finite. That is Vedanta. The experience of infinite is impossible through finite. For all experiences comes under the category of the word, the instrument. There is the word, there is an instrument. And word means limitation. Instrument means limitation. And that limitation cannot help you to experience the infinite. But sir, why do we have to experience the infinite? Why do we have to go for the infinite? Should we go for the infinite? Why do we have to go for the infinite? There is no why here. There is no why here. Why? Why here is only to why na kekro. Yeah. There is no why here. Why? Because it's your original nature. To go back to your original nature, you don't need a reason to be in your original nature. Then only it is original nature. You have a reason to be in the body, mind, and intellect. You have a reason to be in the body, mind, and intellect. I have a reason to be in this frame. What is the reason to be in this frame? Either or hope. Some hope I'm having that in this framework of 5.5 feet, I will gain some happiness in the hope. Therefore, I have a reason to be in limitation. To be in the natural state, there is no reason to get back to the natural state. Why should I be in the natural state? For you have no choice to be unnatural. And howsoever you are in that unnatural state, you will be suffocated, frustrated, agitated, worried, anxious. Most powerful man also will be worried, anxious. The most richest person also will be worried, anxious. The most beautiful person also will be worried, anxious. Everybody will be. Why? Because till you reach your original natural state. How can I experience that, sir? Drop the body, drop the mind, drop the body, drop the mind, drop the intellect. You can experience it. Teach me, tell us how to experience keeping the body, mind, and intellect. It is not possible. That's why the Puranic story, Trishanku story. Yeah. Too much of philosophy in the knowledge, some story to relax. Yeah. You know the Ramayana story, no? Trishanku. Trishanku is one of the great kings of, he's a Rama's ancestor. Lord Rama's ancestor is Trishanku. Even today, if you look up at the sky, you can see somewhere Trishanku hanging upside down. Na? Even today, you can see him. And don't say tomorrow morning class, I saw Trishanku. Yeah, hallucination. Then I'll say, no, Vedanta class is not there. Go for some medical treatment, we have to say. Symbolic it is. What is Trishanku? What did Trishanku do? What did he did? Trishanku wanted to go to Swarga, heaven. And he went to Vasishtha, the Guru, and said, I want to go to Swarga. What do I do? He said, very easy. What is the problem? Drop this body, you go to Swarga. Drop this body, you go to Swarga. Moksha. You want to moksha, na? Drop this. I want to go to Swarga with this body. Yeah, with this I want to go. With this, not only this, no, a whole lot of things will come with this, no. What is the whole lot of things? At least my wife I can take. At least my wife and children I'll take with me. As I'm experiencing, how can I pass on this experience to at least my wife and children? At least father and mother. Yeah, are you able to follow? With this body, not only this body, all the samsara that is associated with the body will come. Vedanta says it is not possible. Vasishtha told Trishanku that with this body you cannot go moksha. Drop this. Trishanku said, I will find another guru. Trishanku said, I will find another acharya. Vijay. Another acharya. There's only one. ஒரே ஆச்சாரியா தான். இல்ல சார், இதுக்கு நீங்க ஆச்சாரியா, பிராணாயாமாக்கு அனதர் ஆச்சாரியா, பக்தி யோகாக்கு அனதர் ஆச்சாரியா, கர்மி யோகாக்கு அனதர் ஆச்சாரியா, ஃபினான்ஷியல் கன்சல்டன்ட்டுக்கு அனதர். They're all there. One solution, one medicine for all the diseases, sir. That is Vedanta. One medicine for all the diseases. Trishanku said, I will find another acharya. And there are acharyas waiting. No? Today, the marketplace of acharya is so dried up. Students say, for everybody wants to become a. Yeah. Acharya is so crowded because so many teachers are there, but there is no one student. And Trishanku said, I will find another acharya, and he found another acharya. Who is that another acharya he found? Another acharya that he found was Vishwamitra. Yeah. And what Vishwamitra said, oh, Vasishtha can't do that. No, I will do. Because I am superior than Vasishtha. So what Vasishtha cannot do, I will do. What is it that I will do? I will send you to Swarga. So Vishwamitra used all his tapo strength and all that and lifted him to heaven. He just went high. And he entered the gates of the heaven, he reached. Vishwamitra can lift him up to the gates of the heaven. The gatekeeper of the heaven saw him and said, you are not allowed inside. With this body, you are not allowed. And he pushed him. And he fell upside down. And Trishanku is still hanging upside down. You cannot experience the infinite through your attachments to the finite. Negate your attachments to the finite, what remains is infinite. That is Vedanta Lakshya. That is Vedanta Lakshya. You cannot experience the infinite by keeping your attachments to the finite. You have your duties and obligations. That is all right. But you need not get attached. When there is this knowledge and when there is this conviction, you will not get attached. During yesterday's session in the evening, I said I'm going out, blow my nose and come back. No, I didn't go to blow my nose Allah. I had to make a call. 15 calls came from one fellow. When 15 calls came from one fellow, I know something is wrong. Who's that fellow? My daughter. She met with an accident and got fractured. Nothing happened. She met with an accident and got fractured. And there is a person who is helping her. The world is full of divinity. No, helps come. You need not worry and panic. So I asked, is she conscious? Yes. Take her to this doctor. I will finish the session and come. How she is there with the bandage and all that? Nothing big. Some ordinary fracture. Oh, what will happen? Oh, he is stressed out. I'll say cancel it and go around. Even if I rush, what can I do? Even if I rush, what is it that I would be able to? Oh, how can you be a heartless father like this? That's a Vedanta. If you study Vedanta, you become so cruel and so heartless. For you should panic and cry and worry and all that. Minimum detachment, that's all. Minimum. All that I ask, is she conscious? Yes. Can I speak? Yes. Finished. You cannot, if you want to experience the infinite, you have to do your obligations, but you can't be attached to the finite and expect to experience the infinite. It will not happen. When it says negate, what are you asked to negate? What are you told to negate? Negate your attachments to the finite. And why are you attached to the finite? You are attached to the finite because you are misunderstanding that the finite will take you to your natural state. The finite will take you to your equanimous state. The finite cannot take you to an equanimous state. Finite is opposites, fluctuations, change. Finite is fluctuations, opposite, changes. And any amount of association with the finite, will not help you to experience the infinite. Will not help you to experience that. Therefore, what is it that you have to do? Negate. The Vedanta Lakshya. Negate. Honestly speaking, you are not negating the non-existent for that which is existent. Negation, you are not doing any great sacrifice by negating. You are not doing anything great. It's not a great sacrifice and all by negating. Why? Negating the non-existent snake to assert the existent rope. Negating the non-existent snake to assert the existent rope. Vedanta Lakshyate. Lakshya means the goal. Lakshya means the goal. Realize Brahman to be that which is the goal of Vedanta, which is indicated in Vedanta. Indicated in Vedanta as the goal. Indicated in Vedanta as the goal. And Vedanta uses the method of Neti to reveal Brahman. negate all that which is experienced. What stays back is remove all the reflected sources. Pure light, when the reflected sources are removed, nothing happens to the pure light. One. Second is access the pure light directly. Don't access the pure light by indirect method. As a human being, you need to access it directly. Get there. As a human being, access it directly. Get there. Do it. Tat brahmet iti avadharayet. Tat brahmet iti avadharayet. Know this to be Brahman. Know this to be Brahman. By the process of negation. Know this to be Brahman by the process of negation. Negating that which is not there, you end up in that which is there. That is Vedanta. Neti, neti, neti. Neti means not this, not this, not this. Then what it is, not this, not this, why can't you say what it is also? Satchidanandamadvayam, Nityam, Ekam, Sarvagatam, Vibhum, Ishwaram. All this is said as what it is. What it is also said. What it is, Neti is also said. Neti is also said. And what it is also, both are explained. By this, you realize the self. By this, you realize the truth. To summarize, Vedanta declares that one must negate the terrestrial entanglements, the terrestrial world, in order to experience the unbroken bliss of Brahman. This is the Lakshya of Vedanta. With this, we conclude verse number 57 and we continue with verse number 58 onwards in the next session. Is there any? There are no clarifications.
No.
Oh, somebody else. Shankar. அவர் ஏதோ இமேஜ் எல்லாம் போடுறாரு அவரு. Yes, Shankar, SRL Shankar.
Hari Om sir.
சொல்லுங்க.
Sir, when you gave example about apurnatvam, you said mind, body limited by the size, mind limited by the attachments, and you said something about intellect, sir.
Intellect limited by the knowledge. I know something. I do not
know something.
That is the limitation of the intellect. Eyes has its own limitations. Ears has its own limitations. Yeah. Similarly, mind also has its own limitations. What is the limitation of the mind? Its attachments. That's all. It's limited, restricted by its attachments. Body, mind, intellect, all are restricted. Restricted by what? That which is beyond the limits of the eyes is called infrared, ultraviolet. That which is beyond the ear's limit is called the sonic thing. Human beings can hear only from this frequency to that frequency. Doesn't mean that is the only thing existing. Many are there. So, senses has a limitation. Mind has a limitation. And what is the limitation of the intellect? What is the limitation of the intellect? It knows something, it doesn't know something else. Is it okay, Shankar? Huh? Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Limited, that's all. And all these instruments are not limited. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We continue with verse number 58 onwards in the next